Alright, hello everyone, Schwarzfiat here, and welcome back. Now before I go ahead and jump to the Arctic, there's a couple things though I want to say before I continue. First of all, as I mentioned previously, I found out that you could upgrade facilities with adjacent structures using the special resources. So here, for example, is just how much the farm can be upgraded. Could build a couple more things. Basically what I found was you have your primary module right here that uses the graphs that increases the production as well as the maintenance cost. And then you've got these three options here. This one decreases the logistic capacity, this decreases the energy requirement, and this decreases the worker requirement. For these three here, there's a total of 5 slots, so you can mix and match them or make them all of one. But for these, there's generally 4 slots available. Although in this one, for stuff like this, there's only 2 additional slots available for the water extractor. So, we can maybe get something right here. Additionally, another thing I found out, if you go to the main menu here, let's see, where is it? Yeah, you have something here called the conference. Once you have access to your...
Vertrau mir, davon haben wir alle was.
Once you have access to the space station, essentially align yourself to one of the other factions, or vote for them rather, and then you can get some bonuses, and they'll imply, yeah, each of them have different things and different effects. I haven't really played around too much with this, but the option is there. But now getting back to combat, one thing I noticed, much to my delight, is it does get a little bit more strategic and more difficult later on. In fact, I actually lost a ship in one battle. But I guess there's a bit to discuss, so let's just get into it here. We've got another mission here.
Ein Kratzer. Nur ein Kratzer und ich schnapp sie dir einfach.
Okay, so I want to talk some more about the problems that I'm having and the good things with it as well. First of all, let's start on a positive note. Now that we have reached a certain combat level, we can unlock an advanced version of the mission. So what we played, the original one, was on standard. And one thing too I want to mention is that repair ship of this guy that was repairing me. In the first mission, he hasn't been in any other missions, which makes sense. So essentially that repair boat there on the first mission is kind of act as a tutorial, but after that you've got to repair on your own, which requires resources that are limited supplies, so it does get more strategic there. But one thing I noticed too with the resources here, doing this one on normal, is 25 graphs and 20 iridium. Now as you look up here, I've got over 200 of each. All of that was essentially obtained in the last combat mission. So I'm starting to think that the mission payout is kind of ridiculous, but then again, I am playing on the easiest difficulty, and that's one of the things that is said. Mission payout is high. But that can be a good thing if you don't like grinding for the building upgrades.
Ein Kratzer.
Yeah.
Nur ein Kratzer und ich schnapp sie dir einfach.
Oh, shut up. But as you can see here with the mission payout, if we up the difficulty, it does make it more difficult, but it gives us a greater reward. And I played the previous mission on more difficult setting. And when it comes to difficulty, that is one thing that I kind of have to praise the game for. With making the mission harder, they didn't just say, okay, let's increase the hit points of the enemies you face and call it a day. In fact, the enemies still die as the same amount of hit points. So you may say, well, what exactly makes it hard? Well, first of all, it adds a little more objectives. There was one mission I played, and to play it on the standard difficulty meant you had to capture and control 1 point in order to win, but to play on the advanced difficulty, you had to secure 2 points. And if you lose a ship in the mission, there's basically no way to get it back, so you're down a ship. And I lost a ship trying to take over the first point, which meant I had to capture the second point with a reduced fleet, which was a little more difficult. Additionally, what I found is the enemy is actually playing smart. They have carriers and stuff in later missions, and these carriers...
Schiffe da weg, aber alle in einem Stück.
Dude, shut up. they have carriers that constantly spawn enemy ships for you, so I was thinking, okay, well, that's pretty straightforward. Kill the carriers to stop the spawn of the ships. And then as I started to focus my DPS on the enemy carriers, they had heal ships like this guy was doing for me in the first mission that you all saw, that was repairing their carrier, and what I found is it was very hard to out DPS those heals, so I had to think like I was in an MMO and focus the healer. All this time, the carrier's still alive, spawning new ships to try to take me out and doing DPS, and I had to repair but using the limited resources available. So it did get a little more strategic and a little more fun. On the downside, though, this is the third time now I've gotten this mission, and this will be the fourth combat mission I've done, including the one in the beginning. So that's kind of a problem. They've essentially used the same one 3 times. Another thing I noticed is just the expenses of upgrading the ships. Yeah, to upgrade this one takes 130,000, and
Verflucht noch eins. Haben die tatsächlich unsere Schiffe gekapert? Zeig's ihnen.
oh well. Basically, it's kind of expensive to upgrade your ships, and so yeah.
Machst du kurz Pause? Ich dachte, wir hätten was Besseres zu tun.
The good news is, while you're out doing a combat mission, your income is still being earned.
Einnehmen. Alle Zugänge blockieren. Niemand darf entkommen.
But as you can see, this is basically the same mission, but they decided to make it a little more difficult. So we can show you more of the advanced
Auf den
combat.
Meeresgrund, bevor sie dasselbe mit unserer Materiallieferung machen. Ich unterstütze dich.
Okay, so here we have our fleet of 4 ships, but unlike the first time we did this mission, we don't have that repair ship, but we do have this.
Das ist das Schiff, vor dem du weglaufen solltest.
Yeah, Benita says this is the ship you should run away from. And taking down this one is kind of a challenge, so yeah, referring back to my previous comment about how this isn't strategic,
Volle Kraft voraus.
I want to make it clear that was just a first combat, which is acceptable. I mean, lots of games have the very first battle pretty easy. Okay. Now, one of the things is you don't necessarily have to destroy this. You can try to, or this big ship, you can try to get around it, but
Wie du bald merken wirst.
if you take it out, it has a lot of drops and weapons and other supplies like that, so good boss drops. But getting back to what I was saying with the higher difficulty, when I played this the first time, I only had to kill the ships around one of the transports, but on a higher difficulty now I've got to do that around 2. And basically with regards to the repairs, you have a fuel supply here, a maximum of 17, which is these little pickups right here. So going up there will give you the fuel, and you can use those for your repairs. To do a repair, take 6 fuel, or alternatively you can make your ships invincible for a short time with using 4 fuel, or you can lay down a mine and kind of create traps. So what I found is playing on the harder difficulties, I actually have to make use of a lot of this stuff and play a little more strategically, because there are limited drops of this fuel, which translates to limited supplies to repair your ships, so the damage you take is kind of something you need to take into consideration. And here we have the enemy carriers that I was talking about. So right now it has 2 ships beside it, but once we get into combat, it's going to start spawning more and more ships. And again, they use logistics and repair capabilities, so we got to take that into consideration.
Roger.
But we'll see all that as we go through this combat. But right away, getting into the choices that we make, there are 2 fuel pickups over here, but they're in range of a turret, so we need these to be able to repair our ships, but we're going to take damage in the process of getting them. So you kind of got to pick and choose where you want to go and things like that. So
Bestätigt. Bestätigt.
alright, but enemies do drop the fuel that you need.
Im Gange.
However, this repair I found is an area of effect repair, so one tactic I've learned to have to get
Bestätigt.
used to is if you have a damaged ship, don't go ahead and repair it, but have the other ships go forward
Bereit für
and
Einsatz.
take the damage, and then when try to balance out the incoming damage. so that when you repair, every ship needs repairs.
Feuer frei. Koordinaten bestätigt.
Now,
Koordinaten
the plan
bestätigt.
here is to get that carrier to cross the mines and then detonate the mines. But first, let's
Waffensysteme bereit.
take these out.
Waffensysteme bereit.
One thing you got to balance out too once you have a max. Yeah, let's go ahead and do a repair. Actually, I'm going to wait.
Ziel bestätigt.
See how much I can take in. Okay. That's probably pretty good.
Selbstreparatur läuft.
Yeah. And it's a repair over time,
Sind
so you got to
unterwegs.
keep that in mind as well. Alright.
Im Gange.
Now let's see what he wants.
Ich frage nicht gern, mein Freund, aber Sie sind die einzige Person, der ich zutraue, Erfolg zu haben und...
Alright, so in each mission, like before, you have a total of 3 different objectives that you complete, or side objectives. These will give you more of that resources you need for building your facilities, as well as combat experience. And combat experience is what lets you upgrade your ships and be able to put it on higher difficulties. But this is just missions. The side missions, of course, do get a little repetitive. I mean, even though this says you need to find the black boxes, it's really no different than looking for those ores on land. You find something and then you find the right items and you click on them. Kinda.
Ich wünschte immer noch, ich müsste Sie nicht fragen, mein Freund, aber Sie haben sogar noch besser abgeschnitten, als ich gehofft hatte.
You know what, come to think of it, I don't even need to engage these carriers because my objective isn't even down there. Okay, so let's just consider that.
Verstanden.
Now, taking out this patrol might not hurt.
Alle zum Einsatz.
Okay, that hurt.
Sind unterwegs.
You grab their aggro.
Bereit für Einsatz.
Like that.
Roger.
Nope, we don't need you in front.
Waffensysteme bereit.
Okay.
Koordinaten bestätigt.
Yep, go ahead and repair since there's some already here.
Selbstreparatur läuft.
Nice thing is these drops will stay here
Roger.
and you can come back and get them later if... Now how far up do they go? Yeah, I think we're going to avoid these because the only advantage you really gain is more pickups and more resources. So that's mainly what venturing off to the side is for, but I just need to recognize the control patterns. Alright, now what
Du
does he
bist
want?
zur richtigen Zeit am richtigen Ort. Suchst du Arbeit?
Ah,
Bestätigt.
fetch quest.
Volle Kraft voraus.
Okay, moving up. Trying to secure the
Sind
first
unterwegs.
objective. No patrols here.
Wir werden beschossen.
Oh no, good.
Reparatursysteme online.
That was too close for comfort.
Koordinaten bestätigt.
Sure, I want to repair and but... Okay, how do we want to approach this? Now you can use this ability within a limited range of your ships,
Starte Nuklearrakete.
and if you're far enough away, it doesn't trigger aggro. So now the question is to do it again, or to just go send the ships in. I think I'm just going to send the ships in, because I need all the special attacks that I can get for taking out that ball ship. That and their DPS really isn't that high. Neither is mine.
Kampfstationen.
I don't
Koordinaten
use
bestätigt.
repair till the very end. Okay.
Bestätigt.
The enemy is smart enough to focus fire on the
Volle Kraft
weaker ship
voraus.
if it's close. Let's test that.
Bereit für Einsatz.
You know what? You can take the damage.
Roger.
Let's just see if he shoots the weaker ship as it moves in.
Verstanden.
And he does. So enemies are smart enough to switch targets. Okay, that's good.
Verstanden.
Feindbewegung registriert.
Sind unterwegs.
And they use special abilities too.
Sind unterwegs.
Oh.
Roger.
Oh, that is an enemy turret.
Volle Kraft voraus.
Come on. Oh, go ahead and take that out.
Bestätigt.
Reparaturdrohnen gestartet.
That didn't go as planned.
Reparaturdrohnen gestartet.
Grünes
The
Licht.
plan was to send the big ship up there and take out that turret, kind of balance out their damage, but
Bestätigt.
the enemy likes to bring submarines into combat. They come out of nowhere. So do be aware of that. Okay.
Bestätigt.
Now, to engage a carrier. Looks like I'm going to have to. The alternative is to go through here. Seems very, very little reward to do so. But I'm going to engage the carrier here, so let's take out these little turrets.
Kampfstationen.
Okay, let's get our submarines.
Grünes Licht.
Focus DPS on that carrier. Go invincible.
Energieschilde aktiv.
Wir werden beschossen. Da kommen sie.
Okay, now you got to be aware of things like this too, because once you get close to them,
Reparatursysteme online.
they will start spawning ships.
Grünes Licht.
Go invincible.
Energie auf Schilde umgeleitet.
Yeah, we'll hold off on that.
Volle Kraft voraus. Alle zum Einsatz.
Although alternatively, you probably could use this to farm
Waffensystem
fuel,
bereit.
because once they die, they do drop fuel, but they do spawn in quite a bit of numbers. So. And that turret constantly
Grünes
annoying.
Licht.
Reparaturdrohnen gestartet.
Sicherheitsstufen erhöhen.
Koordinaten bestätigt.
Okay.
Verstanden.
So on the one side, the combat isn't unbearably hard,
Bestätigt.
but it does provide a little bit of a challenge as it goes up. Not sure exactly when I unlock the final difficulty, but now I've got to get through this to get up to here. There's no other way. And where is the pattern of this big ship? We'll get back to that.
Verstanden. Sind unterwegs.
Okay. Looks like he has the same patrol pattern. It seems the best thing to do in fighting him would be to wait till he goes over mines and then detonate them. The thing is, this tiny ship here has an AoE
Roger.
attack which detonates a lot of mines. So I think I'm going to take out the turrets with the ships that don't have AoE, and
Roger.
so that the mines are still active. At least I think that was a ship with the AoE. Okay,
Roger.
that was not the ship with the AoE. Or maybe that...
Sind unterwegs.
well, you gotta give me credit, I had the right idea.
Verstanden.
Okay, well, there's more mines over here. So now we play the
Im Gange.
waiting game.
Kampfstationen.
Selbstreparatur läuft.
Waffensysteme bereit. Volle Kraft voraus.
Get out of
Volle
my
Kraft
sight.
voraus. Sind unterwegs. Roger.
Do not get in range of that ship. Do not get in range of the ship. Not ready yet. Whoa.
Schilde oben.
Im Gange.
Ooh, that's not good. Didn't have enough fuel for repairs.
Bereit für Einsatz.
Okay, I am not in good shape right now.
Koordinaten bestätigt.
I need 6 fuel to repair. Really? Okay, good. There's some back here.
Starte Nuklearrakete.
Sind unterwegs. Im Gange.
Ich kümmere mich um die Reparatur.
There we go. Good as new. Okay, so we went back and gathered more fuel.
Bestätigt.
Now, how to approach taking this guy out. Let's get rid of these mines.
Feuer frei. Alle zum Einsatz.
I wonder if doing an EMP while he's going over mines
Im Gange.
would actually work. What is the range for the EMP? Yeah.
Bestätigt.
I have no idea if this will work, but everything's worth a try. Because engaging this guy directly is something
Koordinaten bestätigt.
you got to be careful with doing. So, don't get too close.
Verstanden.
Please work. Ah, not close enough.
Koordinaten bestätigt. Alle
It
zum
did.
Einsatz.
Bring him
Das mit einem
down.
Feuerwerk. Und meine Freunde zurückgeführt.
Starte Nuklearrakete.
EMP that thing again.
Koordinaten bestätigt.
Wird schnell und schrecklich sein.
Diesen Dreckskerl haben sie kurz im Prozess gemacht.
Okay, that went well. So, doing EMPs while an enemy is crossing mines equals good
Volle
idea.
Kraft voraus.
Keep him EMP, keep him disabled. No, just for giggles. Probably should not use that though. But I'm going to pick up rockets
Volle Kraft
soon
voraus.
enough. Now we got plenty of fuel. See, there's a repair boat who was repairing the turret.
Ziel bestätigt.
Much more annoying though when they're doing that in carriers.
Kampfstationen. Im Gange.
Alright, we're at our max rockets. Whoa, that's mine, that's mine, that's
Alle
mine.
zum Einsatz.
Ah,
alle zum
and that's
Einsatz.
submarines.
Verstanden.
Okay, well, we're at full fuel. But let's hang off on repairs just yet.
Im Gange.
Now we're at our max rockets, but there's another pickup right there, so
Verstanden.
let's just use that to clear this area.
Nuklearrakete abgefeuert.
And there's two more EMPs down there, so why not?
Alle zum Einsatz.
Probably should have waited till I was closer.
Alle zum Einsatz.
Reparaturdrohnen gestartet.
Torpedo abgefeuert.
Nuklearrakete abgefeuert.
And disable
Systeme
them.
bereit.
Keep them disabled.
Eine Bewegung.
Volle Kraft.
Goodbye.
Einfach so reinrauschen und alles zum Guten wenden. Unsere Mannschaften werden es dir danken. Denen hast du es gezeigt. Ich wusste, dass du das Zeug dazu hast.
Oh shoot, I forgot to turn in that other one mission. Oh well. Doesn't matter, it's just a fetch quest anyways. Alright, so now we're at military level 8, mission completed. Now when we started the mission we had about 100,000 credits, but like I say, while you're doing these missions, this money that you have here per minute is being added to your account. So that's one nice thing about it. Another nice thing about that feature is if you want to go to the bathroom or something like that, or do something else, you actually don't have to pause the game, because in your, well, if you do it if you're in combat, but within the main game, no one's going to attack you, and if you have enough supplies, or everything's in a positive production that's superseding the demand, then you can leave it set for a while. But if any of you are thinking that you can exploit this to just leave the game running all night while you go to sleep, do be aware that there is a credit limit that I think increases as you level up your corporation. So, like for example, if I went to bed and let it run all night, I'm not going to wake up a millionaire because the credit limit is 700,000. So, it is a nice feature there that lets you do other things, and I don't know if it says it in the English version, but in the German version, when it starts up, it says that you should take a 15-minute break for every hour that you play, which keeps in line with the tradition of Anno. Previous games actually had the announcer and other stuff telling you when you've been playing too long. I still remember that time. He comes up and says, "Shoo, 4 hours? Don't you want to go outside or something?" But anyways, so now we can afford an upgrade. Let's see, upgrade the turtle. Armored ship. That is very difficult to defend. Equipped with fast torpedoes that do more damage against vehicles. A better armored artillery ship with better... Okay, loads mortars faster to destroy ships. Okay, so it looks like the turtle is better suited for taking out armored ships, whereas the flare is an anti-building ship. So, given that I don't have enough money to upgrade both, I think the turtle would be better because you encounter more ships than buildings.
Gute Systeme sind die halbe Miete.
Okay. Alright, let's end the mission. Now we gotta click to go back. So all in all, my thoughts on the combat system are, I still kind of think it's mediocre. Yes, there were some strategic elements there that I had to do, and that kind of stuff, and it did get somewhat challenging, but I still think even at this difficulty, failing might be impossible unless you're kind of trying to fail. And it does have some good elements to it, like the enemy's logistics and the ability to use the environment to help you. Like you saw with that big ship, I was able to do massive damage to it without taking much damage myself, because I waited till he went over the mines and then threw down an EMP and then kept him EMP'd while blasting him with submarine fire and that kind of thing. So it is great that it lets the environment use the environment to your benefit. It is also great that they don't just, on higher difficulty, simply increase the HP of your enemies, but give you more enemies and more objectives to complete. But ultimately, like I say, that was my 4th time doing a combat mission, but the 3rd time doing that particular one. There was another one that deviated where you had to capture certain points, and that was a little bit harder. Like I say, I lost a ship in that one, but that was just because I was getting used to the idea of the enemies using repair ships and carriers and that kind of stuff, and I mainly messed it up. But in short, the combat, I feel, is definitely not this game's strong point. Though, to be fair, the combat has never really been a focus of the Anno series. It's just been kind of like a tacked-on feature, and here in Anno 2205, it still feels like just that, a tacked-on feature. So, but the advantage is you don't have to do it. The combat, well, apart from that first one, I don't know if you have to do the other ones, but like I say, the first one, yeah, you have to do to progress to phase 2 of the moon colonization effort, but other than that, it seems like it's purely optional, just as a way to gain the resources. But as you can see, I've got over 500 of these and 400, so I don't think I'll ever get them all used up. But anyways, that's my thoughts on the combat. Next, in the next segment, we'll take a look at the Arctic.